So which are the actual challenges for securitization market and what has changed in the last years?
I think the biggest issue that we're facing in the securitization market right now is the incredibly small size of the market. The market this year so far is the smallest it has been since 1999. Now, one of the things about this market is, of course, that since the crisis in 2007, it has been a very subdued market. But I would like to compare it to a patient that's in a coma. Because the patient's been in a coma for a very long time, it is easy to assume that the reasons why the patient is in a coma today must be the same reasons, the same medical condition as the patient had that sent it into coma at the beginning. In fact, this is a mistake for the securitization market. In 2007, 2008, 2009, the securitization market was incredibly small because there were no investors. Nobody wanted to buy this product. Today, of course, the market is very small and people assume that it must be because the investors have not come back. This is simply not the case. The investors are there. I speak to investors all the time who are telling me they want to buy this product. The reason there is such a small market today is because there are no issuers. And the reason there are no issuers, the reason banks are not using securitization to fund themselves is because there is free money from the central banks, from the ECB, the Bank of England. The result of this is it's always cheaper for a bank to go to the central bank to get its funding than it is to go to the securitization market. Now, this is a really serious problem because there comes a point where a market becomes so small that it will implode. And the reason it implodes is not because investors do not want to buy the product, but simply because it costs money for an investor to hire a team, to pay the rent, to buy and invest money. And if there is so little product to buy, that product doesn't generate enough money to justify the infrastructural costs of still investing in that market. And we are now, I think, at a cusp where very soon we may get to the point where the market is too small to be self-sustainable. And this is a really serious issue because the securitization market in a Europe where the banks are deleveraging is really going to be an essential part of how do we continue to fund the European economy. And so what we at PCS are saying to the central banks is, of course, it's not a question of stopping the funds going to the banks right now. This is not a credible situation. But it is really important to start outlining when and how the central banks are going to start pulling back from their present monetary policy so as to give an incentive to banks to start reusing alternative funding strategies such as securitization so that when the monetary policy does tighten, we are not faced with this huge funding gap.